Greetings everyone, it's Kaz here and I'd like to welcome you all today to my review roundup for Yooka-Laylee. Now I've been anticipating Yooka-Laylee for some time now. I've kind of been craving a 3D platformer in my life for a while and I felt like leading up to its release Yooka-Laylee was going to fill that void for me, and I still think it may do that. So naturally, let's take a look at what the big video game outlets in our industry as per usual think of Yooka-Laylee as a platformer. Does it excel? Does it crash and burn? Let's find out. So IGN.com gave Yooka-Laylee a 7 out of 10, saying the game is good. The final verdict said that Yooka-Laylee contains all the pieces needed for a fun, enjoyable throwback for the 3D collectathons of the 64-bit era. The characters are charming and funny, your set of abilities is vast and entertaining, and 4 out of the 5 worlds are fun playgrounds to explore. While it lacks the heart and polish of some of its incredible predecessors, it's a good reminder that this genre, once thought to be dead, still has some life left in it. So despite Yooka-Laylee's flaws, it does appear from this review that it's a solid experience nonetheless, which is a good sign, and I do think at this stage at least I will most likely still end up picking it up. I do want it for the Nintendo Switch simply because I can play it on the go, and it's as simple as that, so I'll wait for that version of the game. But off to a pretty solid start. It may not be the 8 or 9 that maybe many of us wanted, but it's certainly a respectable score nonetheless. Kotaku said that tearing away all of the bloat, Yooka-Laylee is a challenging and enjoyable platformer. When it focuses on the basics, it succeeds with considerable flair. Yet, these moments arrive in short bursts that are padded out by confusing and hostile design. They point towards a far more enjoyable game than the complete package. The parts are significantly greater than the whole. There's fun to be had, but it doesn't come easily, and if I never had to collect another shiny again, it will be far too soon. So the Kotaku review obviously doesn't give a score, but it seems to highlight maybe some more flaws than the IGN one did, which is a little bit disappointing, but again, they seem to praise the game as a whole for what it's trying to accomplish here. Polygon gave the game a 5.5 out of 10, saying, Yooka-Laylee looks the part of an updated platformer, but some of its mechanics should have stayed back in the era it came from. There was a reason we haven't seen more games like Banjo-Kazooie on modern platforms, and it wasn't just because Rare, as we knew it, was gone. Its ideas were very specific to a gameplay era that we've evolved past. Fourth wall breaking dialogue, shiny characters, and lush graphics can't save Yooka-Laylee from the dated framework that it's built on. I do believe this is the most negative review I've seen and I've come across, but all those criticisms do seem to be fair, and that's a very good point, that lots of these genres of games just were built around a specific era in our industry, and maybe those genres or maybe those types of games, those frameworks as Polygon put it, just can't hold up these days in the way it used to. So that is a pretty interesting point I never really considered. GameSpot gave the game a 6 out of 10, calling it a fair experience. Ultimately, Yooka-Laylee's best and worst aspects come directly from its predecessor. Despite attempts at modernising the formula, its style of gameplay is still outdated, and it doesn't stay challenging or interesting for long enough as a result. But if you're looking for a faithful return to the Banjo-Kazooie formula, Yooka-Laylee certainly delivers. From the font to the music to the wealth of collectibles, it's worthy of the title of spiritual successor. They cite the good is most collectibles are rewarding to find, and the non-linear structure of the game lets you set your own pace, and the cons are the uncooperative camera, convoluted level design, and outdated gameplay. PC Gamer gave the game a 68 out of 100 and said Playtonic did a fine job of recreating the nostalgia of playing Banjo-Kazooie, but Yooka-Laylee simultaneously revives all of the bad parts of those games while never quite living up to the good parts. As a spiritual successor, it stands nicely as a homage that didn't quite hit all of its marks. But as a game on its own, removed from the context of its roots, Yooka-Laylee is an alright 3D platformer that unfortunately doesn't make a strong case for the revival of a genre the reviewer loves. Overall, they say it's a decent revival of the Nintendo 64 era 3D platformer, but with the flaws that carries, as well as some new ones of its own. So overall, the game right now is sitting on a Metascore on Metacritic of 72 out of 100. That is a respectable score, that's a solid score. Again, considering I was very much anticipating this game, if you have been watching my channel for a little bit and you caught my most 7 anticipated games for this year, you would know Yooka-Laylee was one of those, and while my expectations may not have quite been met, they certainly are not awful. The game isn't awful, isn't terrible, but unfortunately does have some flaws, and that is a little bit disappointing. A lot of people seem to be citing the way it runs and the way that does affect the gameplay. As I said, I'm getting the game on the Switch, so for me it does come down to when the Switch version comes out, how does that version run, and if it can run pretty decently, I would most likely pick up the game. However, if there's still major issues with the way it runs, then I probably won't be picking picking it up, and knowing the power of the Nintendo Switch compared to Xbox One, compared to PS4, if those consoles are having trouble running this game, then I've got a feeling that Nintendo Switch will run it even worse. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait and see on that front. So what do you guys think of Yooka-Laylee? Are you interested in the game? Did the reviews do anything for you? Make sure you let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you are new around here. Do check out some of my other content. That would be very much appreciated. But that's enough from me. Thank you all very much for watching today's video. I'll see you all next time. Farewell.